So the first demo I want to show you is going to be in Claude. Okay, so here I've set up a special project. It's got some project knowledge, files. I separately sell access to the materials to create this Copilot to help me make this thing I do sustainable. So if you want to support me in my journey as a creator, you can buy the Copilot and then use this. So here in this case, you can say, like, how would you measure success for, let's pick Airbnb. And isn't that wonderful that Claude is going through maintenance during this demo? It's fantastic. So you can see that Copilot starts by stating assumptions, just like I mentioned in my framework. We're not going to get into all the specific content in this session right now. But generally speaking, I think these assumptions make sense to me. Then it walks me through its game plan for how it wants to spend time in the interview. And the way I've built the Copilot is it also keeps track of how long it takes to say things, because time management is a really critical piece of these interviews. And here it can say, yeah, that sounds good. In real interviews, by the way, this is kind of what happens. Candidates usually do probably 90% of the talking in a lot of these interviews. And interviewers are, if the interviews are getting the signal they need, they're mostly just kind of saying like, yeah, that sounds good, keep going, that makes sense. Like they're not really like probing too much if they're getting what they need, right? So here, the Copilot's going to talk about what Airbnb is, stage of maturity, how it makes money, key competitors, and kind of unique advantages. And then ultimately, it's going to finish with a mission statement that will be helpful later in this exercise. So we can say, yeah, that makes sense. Next, it's going to get into ecosystem players. So what I want to pull up while this is kind of working through it. So this template's, by the way, available for free online for everybody. So the Copilot has basically internalized this framework. So it works through the product rationale. It goes through ecosystem players. That's the part we're about to cover in a second here. Then it defines North Star metrics. It's going to help figure out guardrail metrics, pick a goal for the team. And then I don't think we're going to have time for trade-off navigation now, but you can see kind of how it went about this. So it started by identifying ecosystem players. We've got guests, hosts, and Airbnb as a platform. The value proposition to guests, key actions for realizing value, and then ultimately came up with some ecosystem health metrics. Same with hosts, same with Airbnb. And then once it does all that, it can come up with a North Star metric. Okay. I know I'm going really fast, but this is kind of on purpose. Because I want to show you how someone can really get 50 reps, right? With this, if they do this thoughtfully. So here it came up with a North Star metric of total nights booked per week, came up with some strengths, some drawbacks, and then it came up with some guardrail metrics that allow us to keep the ecosystem healthy as our total nights booked per week grows. Okay. Now, so that's basically how Claude does this. And you can actually literally copy and paste the things that the Copilot generates into the template to compare. So if you were to work your way through this question, how to measure success for Airbnb on your own, you can make a copy of this template. It's publicly available. You could print it out or type into it, state assumptions, walk through your product rationale, fill all this out as much as you want, set some metrics, critique it, set guardrails, and then you could work your way towards a it's going to set a team goal. Work your way towards goals. And then you just compare the approaches and ask questions. So this is the basic idea of how to use AI to get ready for the interviews by getting a lot of these reps and comparing your approach. The thing I'm really excited about at the moment, just in general, is ChatGPT voice mode. I use it all the time. And for a long time, I was really struggling to get this level of kind of like experience created inside of ChatGPT. The main reason for that is my instructions for the projects are very long and very specific. And ChatGPT's character limit for project instructions is 8,000 characters, whereas Claude's has no problem handling my 13,000 character instructions for at least the Product Sense Copilot. So I wasn't able to get this working in ChatGPT for a long time, but then I realized I could just use a new chat. So what I mean by that is apparently there's like a lot less restrictions on just like character limits for a new chat, as well as putting in project knowledge materials. So what I want to do now is show you how you can use ChatGPT. Let me go back to my slides. How you can use ChatGPT to actually hear what it might sound like for someone to say all of these things in a more conversational way, and have a back and forth conversation in a more natural language way. For example, if one of those metrics or the North Star metric or a goal didn't really make sense to you as you're working with the Copilot, then you get to basically ask it verbally, like, hey, like it didn't really make sense to me. Can you define that like way more specifically? Or can you tell me how you got there, and just say it out loud? You could literally do this while you're going for a walk, like, in the park or something, right? It's way more valuable than just having to be at your desk. You could still use Claude to do it at your desk, but if you want voice, you could do it